It is a slow-moving system and it's seen really rapid intensification over the past 24 hours. Just named as a tropical cyclone yesterday, then to a Category 3 severe tropical cyclone overnight, and this morning we've already seen it up to a Category 4 system and forecast to be a Category 5 tropical cyclone in the next couple of hours. Now, Category 5, that is the very top of the scale. It does not get any stronger than that. That is a very severe, significant tropical cyclone, and it's currently only moving at around about 5 or 10 kilometres an hour, so about as fast as someone walks or jogs out over those coastal waters at the moment, sitting about 120 kilometres north of the Pilbara coastline. It is gradually shifting towards the coast, but it's going to take a day or two to get there. Currently, the most likely outcome is this will cross the coast tomorrow evening, Friday evening, as a Category 5 tropical cyclone, and that means that any communities near the point of crossing are going to get hit with some extremely powerful winds, very heavy rain and potential for storm surge, particularly around the evening high tide tomorrow. So it could be very significant, especially for Port Hedland, but there are still a few scenarios in play. There are still a few locations where this tropical cyclone could cross the coast. So really, anyone throughout the Pilbara or more broadly across northwestern WA does need to stay up to date with the latest on this cyclone to get the best idea of when and where it's going to cross, because it is a major weather event.
Absolutely. Angus, you've said Category 5 is the most severe on the scale. Can you just give us a bit of an idea of what exactly a Category 5 cyclone looks and feels like? How sort of significant is this? Can you just put that into perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to categories of tropical cyclones, the technical definition really comes down to the wind speed, and it's the sustained winds that we see wrapping around the centre of the storm or wrapping around the eye wall of the tropical cyclone. The wind gusts that we're talking about whenever we have a Category 5 tropical cyclone are remarkable. It's really hard to fathom wind that strong if you've never experienced it before. A windy day in other parts of the country might be 90 or 100 km/h wind gusts, and that's enough to take down branches and trees. It can blow your trampoline out of the garden. It can take off your roof tiles. When we're looking at a tropical cyclone, we could be seeing wind gusts of 250 to 290 kilometres an hour. So the windiest day you've ever seen in Melbourne or Sydney or Perth, you double it and you add some. That's the kind of wind we're talking about, and that can completely cause devastation. It can take out houses and properties. It can bring down full trees and power lines, and it can cause massive damage and destruction. So the wind is going to be a major factor, particularly near the coastal crossing point. Widespread heavy rainfall is also anticipated as this tropical cyclone gets close to and crosses the coast. We've already seen over 100 millimetres of rain across the Pilbara coast, and we haven't even got near the crossing point yet. So likely over the next few days, several hundred millimetres of rain will fall through some of these coastal places, which could lead both to flash flooding issues as well as widespread riverine flooding, where the river levels across northwestern WA will rise and go past their flood thresholds. And the final thing is storm surge, which is really when you get a big tide and the water level rises a long way above what is typical for a high tide level. With a system as strong as this, a Category 5, we could see the tidal locations, some locations on the coast, see tidal levels around about a metre, if not more, above a typical high tide, and that can lead to inundation of coastal properties and roads and cause significant disruption in its own right. So we've got lots of weather impacts that are associated with a Category 5 tropical cyclone, and they are very severe.
As you said, it's pretty difficult to predict exactly where and when a cyclone is going to cross the coast, but can you just give us an idea, just remind us the areas that should be keeping an eye on these developments throughout the next day or so, where exactly is likely to be most impacted?
Yes, absolutely. So it is a broad stretch of the coast that should be aware. Now, the most likely crossing point is just to the west of Port Hedland, but that is certainly not the only part of the coastline which should be staying up to date with the latest information. We've got a tropical cyclone warning that runs from Bidjadanga up near Broome, so all the way from Broome almost across to the far northwest around Onslow should be aware, but particularly those spots like Port Hedland, Karratha, Dampier, Willal Downs, Wim Creek, and those areas along the northern Pilbara coast are most at risk, but anywhere from Broome to Onslow should be paying attention, as well as inland spots like Marble Bar, because this system will continue to move southwards after it crosses the coast, bringing a broad band of heavy rain and strong winds through some communities through the northern interior of WA as well.